What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called Guy in Armor Must Be in Charge. So a bit of backstory. Back in 2018, when this occurred, I'd saved up quite a bit of money for my job as a shift lead in the food service industry. So what did I, 17 male, do with that money? I bought a suit of steel plate armor, helmets and all, something I'd always wanted to do since I knew what a knight was. I'd bought it primarily to wear at the local Renaissance festival, literally the coolest place I've ever been, but took every opportunity to put it on that I could. And this wasn't some thin ceremonial or LARP stuff, it was the real deal. 16 gauge steel, thick leather straps, over 100 pounds altogether. It could stop a sword. At the time, and currently, I stood at 6 feet 5 inches and weighed a grand total of 140 pounds soaking wet. Not the most intimidating on my own, but with the armor on, I was scary as Freddy Fazbear, or so people are told. Anyway, on to the story. That October, my mom signed my entire family up to volunteer at the nearby hospital's trunk or treat the Saturday before Halloween, a night I had off from work. So I suited up, the rest of my family got into their Renaissance Festival costumes, and off we went. When we arrived, we reported to the event director, the real manager, and were assigned our duties. My parents were to hand out candy from the back of their car and keep an eye on the kids walking through, like most of the adults. The youngest of my siblings, 11 female, was sent to help oversee some of the games going on inside and around the hospital, and the oldest, 15 female, was sent with me. And what was my wondrous task? A glorified traffic cone. My job was to stand at one of the entrances to the portion of the parking lot the event was taking place in and keep cars from driving through. Here to join the trunk or treat? Go around the hospital to the exit side of the lot and someone else will direct you further. Just trying to leave the hospital? Sorry, bud. You're gonna have to turn around. No exit here. There was another entrance, but other volunteers took care of it. And mine was where the line of trunk or treaters would wait while another group went through. It did make sense to put me there though. If you didn't notice the glow stick lanyard all the volunteers were wearing, you definitely noticed the hulking 6 foot 5 inches guy encased in reflective steel standing in your headlights. And if you somehow didn't, I had a much better chance of surviving getting hit. So there I stand for 2.5 hours, directing traffic and taking pictures with a fair few of the kids waiting in line. Most were a bit scared of me, but with some encouragement from their parents and a lift of my helmet's visor to show that I was, indeed, a person under all the metal, they became very excited to meet a real knight. I must have felt badass, man. So sometime between 2.5 and 3 hours on duty, I hear a bit of yelling coming from the other parking lot entrance. I didn't think much of it because there are a lot of people around being loud, especially kids. So I keep on keeping on. Then a moment later, just as I finish another photo op, there's a tap on my pauldron, shoulder armor. I turn and there stands one of the volunteers from the other entrance, looking a bit exasperated. Hey man, sorry to bother you, but can you come with me for a moment? We could use you over here. A little confused, wondering if maybe someone needed a bathroom break and needed me to take over or something, I said sure and followed him back. As we got closer, the shouting got louder and I started to make some of it out. Okay, what the hell is going on tonight? I want to leave through here. The other exit goes to such and such road, and the construction there is a pain in the ass. Where's your frickin' manager? I'll make him make you let me through. This is ridiculous. Do you have any? And blah, blah, blah. Now, I see a car stopped at the second entrance and a red-faced man in the driver's seat with the window down, tearing into the second volunteer traffic cone. As we approached, the guy who grabbed me ran ahead, blocking the man's view of me as I got closer. Alright man, he said, here's the manager like you wanted. About frickin' time! What? Is he an intellectually disabled individual like you two? I swear to God I'll... At this point, the volunteer who had me follow him stepped aside and I came forward, right next to the car's window. The jerkwad's mouth dropped, and his face went a few shades lighter as I lumbered to a stop. "What's the problem here?" I asked, finally figuring out what was going on. I also made my voice a little deeper than it actually was. The man just stared at me for a couple of seconds, mouth agape, still not sure what was worse for him, the beast in medieval armor or the fact that he saw his own stupid face reflected in my visor. When he finally found his voice again, he sorta pointed ahead of him and mumbled, I want to leave through here because the traffic is really bad the other way because of the construction." I didn't let him finish and folded my arms, which wasn't exactly easy. "Seriously? You do see all the kids running around, right? The big line, the cars, the games, and you still want to drive through here? Especially with that mouth of yours? If anyone is a intellectually disabled individual here, it's definitely not me or these guys." But nope. Don't want to hear it. Stop shouting at my buddies, turn around, and leave the way that isn't full of kids, or I'll have the hospital security come deal with you. I was loving this. I never got to talk to people like this at my actual job. Without a word, he rolled up his window, put the car in reverse, and drove away. Once he was gone, the volunteer who grabbed me high-fived his buddy, then me. "Sorry for dragging you into this, man. I couldn't find the actual manager, and this guy was pissed, and then I saw you, and I knew you would be perfect." I just laughed and told him it was no trouble. That was actually very enjoyable. Then I took a picture with the volunteers, chatted a bit about my costume, then headed back to my post and finished out the night content with my little revenge against all the Richard Craniums in the world. Ha! That's funny. Richard Craniums. Get it? Penis heads. Also, I've seen some comments that have seemed a bit incredulous about my weight and height. I'm 100% serious about that. When I have my shirt off, you can count my ribs and see my chest move when my heart beats. Just won the genetic lottery for skinny jeans, I guess. Pity I need a tightly cinched belt to wear. Oh, it's a pun! I love it! Thank you, man. Dude, I love this story. It's badass. The freaking power he must have felt, man. Jeez. God, can you just imagine that? Being in steel plate armor, just watching this dude freaking melt into this puddle of cowardice before you. I love it. I love it. Obviously, though, if I were to be like, a dude back then, I'd definitely be Viking Berserker. Yeah, I know it. I'd have to be, just get hopped up on whatever the hell they were, whether it just be intoxicants or just insane focus, and just freaking rush into battle and fight like a goddamn wolf. Sounds badass. Obviously, I'm not capable of it, but if I were to pick anything, definitely be a Berserker, like Eric the Red. Just less sadistic. Oh, quick little fact here. So if y'all are ever confused as to why Greenland is called Greenland and Iceland is called Iceland when they should be switcherooed, well, that's actually because of Eric the Red. See, he sailed to Iceland and he thought, damn, this place is beautiful. And then he saw Greenland and saw it was just this frozen goddamn wasteland. So this clever mother father was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call Greenland, Greenland, even though it's a frozen wasteland. And then I'm gonna call wasteland, and I'm gonna call Iceland, Iceland, because I want to go there and I want everyone else to go to Greenland. Because if you hear Greenland and Iceland, you're gonna go to Greenland because it's like, hey, I want to go to the green place. Why would I want to go to the freaking frozen wasteland? Well, if you ever did that, you got fooled by Eric the Red. Also, another fun fact, Eric the Red's son, or Leif Erikson, was the first European to sail to America 500 years before Columbus. Pretty cool, huh? Small world. And he was born in Iceland. Alright, this story's called Go Ahead and Complain. They can't fire me. This happened yesterday at a large box store known for their cheap prices and interesting people who shop there. Walmart. A bit of background. I recently was outside in the cold too long and had hypothermia with other issues. Damn. And still have very large 3rd-degree frost burns on both of my feet. I have a hard time walking and it's quite painful, so I was using a scooter that the store provides for customers. Another important thing to note is that even though I live in a cold weather state, I rarely wear a coat, so I didn't have a coat on or in my car. Didn't you just say in the same paragraph that you had hypothermia? Bro, come on! I'm driving the scooter through the store while my girlfriend is walking next to me or behind me, depending on how many people are around us. We're just shopping, looking at things, pointing things out to each other, as people normally do. We're about a third of the way back into the store from the entrance. The doors are slightly visible, but we're not right inside the entrance. A woman walks into the aisle we are currently looking for something in and approaches me. I quickly try to move to the other side, thinking she's gonna ask me to move, but instead she looks right at me and says, "I need that scooter." I'm a bit flustered since I wasn't expecting that at all, and I'm not sure what to say, and I say, "Excuse me?" while trying to figure out what's going on. She responds that the scooters are for customers who need them and not for you to play around on. Now I'm getting irritated because who is she to say whether or not I'm entitled to use a scooter? My girlfriend steps forward and says, "Ma'am, she needs the scooter. If they didn't have any more at the entrance, you can ask the greeter to check the other entrance." Which of course sets off this Karen. Karen goes into full-blown, "the customer is never wrong" mode. She starts demanding that I get off the scooter immediately as she wants it right now, and I'm not supposed to be using it. Somewhere in her rant, she says that employees aren't allowed to play on scooters. And then it clicks that she thinks I work there, despite the fact that I'm not wearing anything blue and am obviously shopping. I try to tell her that I don't work there, but she's too far into her rage to comprehend anything. She now has her hands on the front of the scooter and is demanding to see my employee ID. I back up the scooter to try to get a bit away from her and tell her again that I don't work there. My girlfriend has gone to find an actual employee. Karen notices that my girlfriend is gone and demands to know where she went, obviously thinking she's an employee too. I tell her again that she needs to stop. I don't work there and I'm not giving her the scooter. I've had about enough of her and am now contemplating running her over with it. My girlfriend finally returns with a store employee. Store employee asks what the problem is, and Karen starts with, "This girl," when I completely interrupt her to say loudly that I was trying to shop when this woman started harassing me and demanding the scooter I was using. Karen's mouth starts flapping in the breeze as she can't believe how incredibly rude I'm being. She turns to store employee and asks why I'm being allowed to use a scooter. Store employee tells her that the scooters are for all customers and as long as I'm not causing issues, they have no reason to ask me not to. Karen hears only the part she wants to and says, "She is causing a problem." Store employee asks what the problem is and Karen replies with, "She won't give me the scooter." I look at the store employee and ask, "Do you know me?" Store employee looks confused and says, "No." I ask, "Do I work here?" Store employee is now figuring out where this is going and says, "No." I say, "So I'm just a customer here shopping." And store employee confirms this. Karen stares in disbelief, then accuses the store employee of covering for me so I don't get into trouble. She now wants to see store employee's ID badge and wants a manager, claiming she's gonna get us both fired. I shout at Karen, a little louder than I should have, but I'd had enough of her, that I'm not an employee and she shouldn't be harassing the actual employees either. I might have called her crazy. During this, my girlfriend went to customer service for more backup because we weren't gonna leave this poor employee to deal with the Karen by himself. She comes back with the floor manager or something similar right as I'm done telling Karen to stop harassing employees. The manager has already been filled in on the entire situation and apologizes to me and says she will take care of the situation. Do I need anything else? I politely tell her no and thank her for dealing with the situation. As we leave the aisle, we can hear Karen screaming that I need to be fired while the manager tries to explain that she can't harass customers. I don't think she ever got it that I didn't work there. Ha! Cool guy, girlfriend, cool guy OP, cool guy employee, for not leaving each other to not hanging each other out to dry. There we go. Not throwing each other under the bus. Then everyone would need the scooter. Am I right? Probably. Bus crashes are rarely not bad. There we go. That made sense. Because I attempted this before this take, and it didn't make sense at all. Alright, this story's called I Don't Work at This Store, Karen. So my 25 female job whilst I was in university was as a pharmacy assistant at my country's version of a CVS, where it's a big franchise chain that has pretty much everything you need to buy for personal care as well as getting a prescription filled. I usually worked out on the floor helping customers find what they're looking for since the store can be quite overwhelming. So anyway, one Saturday I was getting ready to clock off at 4 as the evening staff were getting in. I get a phone call at the store. It's my mom asking me to buy her a particular item. This was pretty common for my mom to do, so I quickly look up if we have any in stock. We don't because we're too small of a store to stock it. However, the larger store 15 minutes down the road does. So I tell her once I clock off, I'll quickly drive down and grab it then come home. So I get to the other larger store. I put on a black jacket over my uniform, but it's quite warm so it's unzipped. I grab a basket to do shopping. Plus, customers will usually get the hint you're not working and leave you alone. Important note! Although every store follows a basic planogram, so all the same stuff is together, where you put those items in an aisle is completely up to the store. So, for example, at my store, all the baby stuff was in aisle 8. At this store, it was in aisle 3. So I'm taking longer to do my shopping because I don't know where everything is. So I'm grabbing some toothpaste and get a tap on the shoulder. This was a textbook picture of a Karen. You need to help me. Sorry, Stop talking and listen to me. Come help me find some fancy skincare item. I don't understand why you're not helping me. I don't work here? You're wearing a uniform, of course you work here. I start walking away at this point. This idiot starts following me. You can't do this, I'm a paying customer. I keep walking. I've grabbed everything I need, so I head to the register. As I'm checking out, Karen has grabbed some poor pharmacist and is pointing at me saying I need to be fired. I look at Karen and say, I don't work at this store. What part of that do you not understand? Karen starts going off about how I am the worst employee she has ever seen at this store, with the poor pharmacist telling her I'm telling the truth. I pay for my items and walk out. Karen follows me to the car park, telling me she's gonna call my manager and she has high connections, whatever that means. I tell her one more time I don't work at this store and slam my car door and drive away. Little did you know, her husband was the CEO of this company. That's how they like to act, right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.